Hey everyone, and welcome back to your midweek fix for Sempre Milan. As it's the international break, and as club fans, we somewhat try to get ourselves through it because it is quite a stale period of the season, and we're coming towards that that last stretch, the last 10 games of the season. I think it's time to look at the players we have on loan at the club, and most in particular, we have 5 players currently, and see whether us as fans, or how we might picture that management are going to decide whether we should buy or not buy these players outright when it comes to the summer. So yeah, today's video, we're going to focus on the players we have on loan at the club. Now, I won't do a massive description of each of these 5 players, and I'll just detail the basics about them and how they play and fit into the system and the team and the squad. If you do want to find out more, go into the description below. There are articles of each of the players when they first signed for the club on loan. So yeah, check that out if you want to find out a little bit more about these 5 players. So yeah, let's fire off the first name off the bat, and that's Sandro Tonali. He was the first player we signed on loan back in the summer. And this was a player that, at the time, he was very close to signing against to our rivals Inter Milan. At the time, it was a massive signing for the club, and I still think it is. Considering his age, 20 years old, his stats probably won't impress a lot of people when it comes to it. No goals, no assists, but we can't consider him as an Andrea Pirlo player, despite his appearance physically might look like one with the long hair and whatnot. I think we need to look at him as more of a Gennaro Gattuso mold of a player, someone who's going to break up play, who's going to be very aggressive, positionally doing very well, distributing the ball to more offensive-minded players like Hakan Çalhanoğlu or Benacer. And I think we need to sort of weigh our expectations down with him, especially from the get-go, and let him just sort of grow into his position with the team. Because if we look back, especially with the centre midfielder positions, with your Frank Kessies, with your even Benacer last season, they didn't start off really well for the club. And it wasn't until they got adapted fully with the season, with purely system and obviously confidence, that they were able to flourish and get better as a player, and obviously their output got a lot better. So with Tonali's deal, the 10 million euros invested, I think with that we can't go back. And I feel like with him as well and his age, and obviously how he fits in with the Italian setup, I feel like we'd regret if we let this guy go. Very similar to obviously the Locatelli deal, which is biting us in the arse right now. So we will, in my opinion, and from the reports that are coming out, we are definitely going to buy this player outright this summer. I think it's the right move for him and the club. Secondly, I'm going to skip forward all the way to the winter window, and there's no disrespect to the 2 players I'm missing out who we also signed on loan in the summer, but we have to talk about this guy straight away, and that's Fikayo Tomori, who we signed on loan from Chelsea in January 2021. Fikayo has done everything for all Milan fans to be inspired that he is the right player for us to sign at the centre-back position, and I feel like we were linked to so many other players in the January window. There was the one from France, I forgot his name now, but I feel like, could you just imagine if we went with him? Siamakan, that's his name. Imagine if we went with him instead of Tomori, and we wouldn't have known this player that was just perfect for us, perfect for the mould of our defence. He presents the perfect counterbalance to Simon Kjaer, or obviously even the games that Romagnoli plays. He has the speed, he has the energy, he has the athleticism. Tomori has been incredible in the Milan shirt, and what's very staggering is that just how well he's grown accustomed to the team. He doesn't know the language yet. He's willing to learn it, and Tomori has done exceptionally well. And I feel like the 28.5 million that is required to sign this player outright has to be activated this summer. We will regret this signing, probably the most we've ever done in recent years. I used to think Bakayoko as one of them, but this is definitely above that, because it is perfect for his position, his age, 23 years old, I believe. Incredible player. We have to pick this guy up in the summer, and it's a no-brainer for me. So currently, obviously, in my mind, that we definitely will be going down the route of signing these 2 players, Tomori and Tonali. That puts us in an investment so far around 60 million euros, which is obviously quite a lot of money, but these are no-brainer steals for players who are at a great age, that fit the mould of the club and the idea of the club, and have had a massive impact in the team so far. The next 3 players we're going to focus on are very in the balance of if this club is going to sign them outright in the summer. And we can all have arguments whether it's good and bad if we sign them, if the price tag, their age, etc. I feel like what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to pick one out of these three players I feel like the club will and probably should sign. And obviously when it comes to the end of it, guys, I want your debate in this. I feel like we're all in agreement with Tonali and Tomori, but with these last three players, give your opinion. If there's one player you can pick out of these three that we should sign and will sign in the summer, who do you think it will be? So yeah, let's go forward and break down these last three players. Okay, firstly, Diogo Dalot. He is someone who's very versatile. He can play both left and right back positions. He seems a bit more competent at the left back position, especially in games we saw with the first leg against Manchester United. Dalot has been a very interesting one for us. You know, he's played around 24 games this season. He's been a bit of a rotational player. The money required to sign him outright is believed to be around the 20 million euros mark. You know, 22 years old. I think for his age, it's a gamble. It's very much a gamble. I think it's, you know, considering we spent this money on Andrea Conti, which was a complete bust, I think it's fair for Man United to, you know, require that. I feel like we can negotiate down and maybe meet around the 14, 15 million mark for Dalot. But at the same time, do I feel like there's a better player out there? I think there is. And as much as I respect Dalot, he's come up trumps with a couple of goals this season, a couple of assists. I just don't, I think it's too much for him to learn defensively for us to take this gamble and sign him. He looks very good going forward, and obviously he has picked up a few goals and assists. But for me, Dalot, I'm just not sure. A lot of respect for the player. I do feel like there's a lot for him to grow and build on. But for me, I think that money can be invested elsewhere, and I think we should. So for me, I'm going to pass on signing Diogo Dalot this summer. Rounding up the players we signed on loan in the summer is Brahim Diaz. And if you follow me on Twitter, you know I'm not the biggest fan of Brahim. And it's not down to who he is as a player. I just feel like he just doesn't fit us when it comes to the way we play and the typical players that we usually play with in Purely's system. I feel like physically he just doesn't have it. Not to say that he can ever learn it one day. I just feel like his size just doesn't meet up to the mark with other players like Rebic. We need these sort of taller, more physical players like Rebic and even like Salamakers has made. He's managed to adapt his game just by adding that sort of physical element to it. Whereas Brahim seems very like, he just doesn't want it. He doesn't want to have the battle with other defensive midfielders. And someone in that position, you know, he can spin a midfielder, but all of a sudden he'll get closed down straight away. And I don't feel like he's ever evolved that part of his game. And he's picked up a few goals this season, some of which have been very easy ones. So I think, you know, the stats can lie a little bit, and he's had some very questionable games, and he's also had some very good games at the same time. But the money required to sign this player is around 20 to 30 million euros. I think that's a lot of money to invest in a player who, once again, has a lot to learn and a lot to improve on for us to really think that this investment is worth the money that we're gonna pay. And I feel like there are better options out there. We can spend that money on the attacking midfielders who we've been linked to recently, and we'll get a player who's more ready for this team, a player who's more adapt to the formation and Purely system. So once again, I'm going to pass on this player, signing him outright. So sorry, Brahim Diaz, but for me, it's a no. So rounding up, the last player we're going to talk about is Soualiho Meïté, and apologies if I've crucified your name here again, but got to go with what I got here. Meite is someone who's very interesting, and when we first signed him, I didn't have a lot of expectations for the player. We're looking at a rotational defensive midfielder. Came in with a buyout option for 8 million euros. Someone who I didn't think we were going to take up. It was, in my opinion, someone that was just going to plug a hole for this half a season, and then we'll buy someone better in the summer. He didn't start off well, Meite, in my opinion. We're not going to expect a lot of goals from this guy. I'm not expect a lot of assists. He is someone who I feel like when we signed, it was just basically a vice Kessie position. He's done really well in recent games, and I know we can put blame on him with the goal that we conceded against Man United in the second leg with Pogba. He didn't clear the ball out properly, but overall I feel like he's improved his game a lot, and we have to consider the fact that, that obviously he wasn't playing a lot for Torino, a lot of bit part in a different formation, a different system. I guess when he's 27 years old, it's a lot. There's a lot less expectations we expect from him, and when it's a catch-22 with these players at a certain age, with like say like a Dalot or Brahim Diaz, when the young 20s age, they're going to expect a price tag around the 20 million mark. But even though they haven't proved a lot in their career, they have potential to grow. Whereas Meite is around the 8 million mark because he's essentially in his prime period. And considering we invested this money in Krunic a couple of seasons back, and he's had a bit part job at the team, I feel like Meite will kind of be similar to that. And for me, he's actually the person I think we should probably sign, because looking at our midfield, looking at Benacer, looking at Kessie, Tonali, Meite, I do feel like we're going to sell Krunic this summer and bring a player like Pobega back, who's doing quite impressive on loan. I feel like that's good enough. A young core of a midfield. And I do feel like that will allow us to spend the money elsewhere in positions where we need it, such as a right winger, another centre forward, another attacking midfielder. So I feel like for that, not because he's the perfect player for that position, that financially it makes the most sense for us to invest only 8 million in this player. I mean, we can maybe negotiate that down and use that money we would else spend on a Dalot or a Brahim Diaz, which would be about 12 to 15 million more, spend it elsewhere and buy another player in a position we definitely need improvement on and find better alternatives for. So yeah, guys, we're going to round things up here today, and the topic of discussion are the 5 players we have on loan. 2 of them I feel like are no-brainers and we should definitely sign in the summer, but that puts us in investing around 60 million euros. And in the description below, you'll find an article that if we sign all these players outright, all 5 of these players, we're going to spend, in excess of 100 million euros. And I just don't feel like for that money, these 5 players in total, I just don't think they're worth it. So let's select one of them. Let's select one if you can, or if you feel like we're going to sign all 5, put them in the comment section below, guys. I love to see it. I love to see your opinions. They keep me engaged. So yeah, guys, international break's nearly finished, and we're going to watch Milan next. Hopefully get a nice win against Sampdoria on the weekend. Keep supporting the club, guys. Keep the faith. And until next time, Forza Milan.